All right, I'm back at the lake. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Really appreciate all the feedback and generosity everyone showed to me. So we're in for 500. Let's get into it. So here, look down at King, Queen, Jack 10, single suited to the Queen in the big blind. Under the gun opens to 20. There's 5 callers to me. I call, and we're going 7 ways to a flop. Flop comes 4-4-2 rainbow. Checks all the way to the middle position player, bet 65. When it folds to me, I fold. Here, look down at Ace, King, 5-3, single suited to the ace in the big blind in a straddled pot. There's a couple callers. I call. Straddler makes it 20. 2 callers to me, and I call. So we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes King 8-4 with 2 hearts. When it checks to me, I bet 50. Folds all the way to the small blind, who only has about $180, and he puts it all in the middle, and I have no choice here but to call. So we're going heads up to a run out. Turn brings a queen. River brings a 7. So no help to me. And before I can turn my hand over, my opponent turns over his. Ace 4-4-4. And he says that he misread his hand. So I don't know if he actually misread it or he was just embarrassed to have to turn that hand over, but he's going to take it down. Here, look down at Ace, Ace, King 2, single suited to the ace in the small blind. There's a couple early position limps. Cutoff makes it 30. Button calls. I make it 135. Back to the cutoff who calls, and the button folds. So we're going heads up to a flop. Before the flop comes out, I put my 55 in the middle, and he says blind. I say, yep. $55. What am I going to do with that? And flop comes out 6-6-3, and he makes the call. So we're going heads up to a run out. Turn brings a jack. River brings a 4, and I turn over my hand, and we're good. So happy to crawl back close to even here. Here, look down at Ace, Ace, 8-3, single suited to the ace in the hijack. I open a 20. The cutoff and button call. Then the small blind makes it 100. Back to me. I make it 340. Folds back to the small blind, and he calls. So we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes King Jack 4. He pushes, and obviously no choice here. So we're going heads up to a run out. Turn brings a 10, bringing the backdoor flush draw. River brings a queen. So this board just went from bad to worse. But luckily, he turns over his hand. He has Ace, Ace, 7-3. So we're definitely very happy to chop it up here. So this is actually the next hand after the ace's hand. I look down at Ace, King, Jack 10, double suited in middle position. There's an early position limp. Player to my right makes it 25. I 3-bet to 85. The cutoff calls, then the button, who is the same player that I chopped up with the aces, and he actually played a couple hands prior to that, one in which he lost a huge pot, so, he definitely could be on tilt. We'll see. He goes ahead and makes it 400. Back to me. My hand's too good here. I mean, he certainly could have me beat, but, I'm never in terrible shape against anything, so I push. And both players call, so we're going 3 ways to a run out. Flop comes Jack 8-7, all spades. Turn brings a jack. River brings a 7. So both my opponents don't look too happy about their hands. I turn over my hand, and they both show their hand before mucking. I was up against King Queen 10-9 and Ace Ace 4-3 from the button. So we're taking it down. So to give a little context into the game, we are currently 6-handed, and everyone agreed to do straddling. So I'm the straddler in a straddled pot. I look down at 10-9, 7-5. There's 4 limpers to me, and I check my option. We're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes 6-4-4 rainbow. When it checks to me, I bet 25, and we get 2 callers. So we're going 3 ways to a turn. Turn brings a queen. I decide to slow down here and check, and both my opponents check back as well. So still 3 ways to a river. River brings an 8. I bet 35, and everyone folds, so we take it down. Here, look down at King Queen 10-9, double suited in the cutoff in a straddled pot. Under the gun actually did a blind 15, and then the player to my right made it 45. I called, and there's 4 other callers, so we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes 9-6-3 with 2 clubs. When it checks to me, I check. Button bets 100. The straddler calls. Everyone folds to me, and I fold. Here, look down at Ace King 9-4, double suited in the cutoff in a straddled pot. Player to my right limps. I make it 50, and we get 4 callers, so we're going 5 ways to a flop. Flop comes Ace, Jack, Jack, rainbow. When it checks to me, I check, and the button checks as well. So still 5 ways to a turn. Turn brings a 4 clubs, giving me the backdoor flush draw. When it checks to me, I bet 60, and only the button calls. So we're going heads up to a river. So before the river comes out, this player says, Wayne, take it easy on me, man. I feel like you're going to cooler me here. So I would definitely play aces like this, which is what he's putting me on. But despite all that, if he has a jack here, I don't really think he's going to fold. It's going to be one of those situations we've all been in when you're bluffing and the player is kind of tanking there for a little bit and they call you and say, oh, I know I'm beat, but I got to see it. So you know, that being said, I don't really think I'm going to bluff this here. We'll see what the river brings. River brings an 8, and although I could try to, you know, pot it and just, you know, bully my way into this pot, like I said, I don't think he's going to fold jack, so I check, and he checks back, and he turns over his hand, and he has jack 8, 7, 7, so he filled up on the river, and I think it's a good thing I checked here. He's going to take it down. So here, look down at ace jack 10, 3, double suited on the button. Player to my right makes it 35. I call, and everyone else folds, so we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes king 8, 4, rainbow. When he checks, I decided to turn my hand into a bluff. Obviously, I don't really have much here besides a couple backdoor flush draws, but I bet 40, and he quickly calls, so we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings a 9, giving me an open-ended straight draw. When he checks to me, I decided to check back. This player is new, but he has played a lot of hands, and we are obviously six-handed, so I don't really know if a bluff's going to work against him. So I check back, and we're going heads up to a river. River brings a 9, and when he checks to me, I just decide to give up and check, and I say any pair's good, and he says no pair, and he turns over his hand. He has queen jack 10, 7, so not quite sure what he called with on the flop there, but happy to take it down. Here, look down at king jack 10, 9, single suited to the king on the button. Early position player opens at 30. I call, and there's 2 other callers, so we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes jack 9, 7 with 2 spades. When it checks to me, I bet 60. Pretty draw heavy board, so definitely want to charge people for their draws, and only the small blind call, so we're going heads up to a turn. Turn brings the 5 of hearts, bringing in the backdoor flush draw. When he checks to me, I definitely want to continue charging him for his draws. Now that there's 2 flush draws available and I don't have a single suit of either of these, definitely likely he's going to have at least one of them, so I decided to bet 125. Looking back, I probably could have bet a little bit more, but I bet, and he ended up calling, so heads up to a river. River brings another jack, giving us the nuts, and my opponent thinks a bit and checks, and back over to me. Not really sure what he has or what he can call with, but definitely want to bet a decent amount. You know, he definitely could have had a set or even like a lower 2-pair combo that made a worse boat than mine. So I decided on about a half pot size bet of 240, and he actually shows his hand, and the dealer believes that he folded, but he didn't fold, and I actually almost mucked, and I, you know, almost said good call because I thought he mucked too. But he tanks for a couple minutes here and actually makes the call, and he has 10, 9, 8 with 2 hearts, and I don't see his third card, but you know, we take it down. So after that jack 9 hand, didn't really get a ton to play. I played probably about 3 more orbits. Game actually got down to 4-handed, and me and the other 3 people didn't really want to play that short, so had no choice but to cash out as the game broke. What's up, guys? Wayne back here with you. So today I was in for 500, out for 1575, so profit of 1075. I had a couple goals going into the session. I wanted to try to be a little bit more aggressive, you know, 3-betting more. I also wanted to try not slow playing with my hands, just kind of lead out. So I think I did both of those. You know, so early on, I kind of got in a hole. I led out on with ace king 5-3, flopped the flush draw. Guy ended up pushing for like 180. He had a set, ended up holding. So yeah, I was down under $200. Ended up getting it in with ace king 2. Ended up doubling up. Then I got it in again with aces. We ended up chopping, and then obviously the big hand there was the ace king jack 10. So early position opened to 25. I 3-bet to 85. Not often that I 3-bet without aces, you know, but I'm trying to be a little bit more balanced. I eventually want to play a 5-10 game that also runs, and I believe the players there are going to be a little bit more balanced, so definitely trying to work on that. And then the tilted player, he's a regular here, but you know, he had lost a couple big hands, so I didn't really put him on aces. Obviously it was a possibility, but figured, you know, I just had to kind of get it in, and fortunate to win that one. And then towards the end there, we were short-handed, probably about 6 ways, and you know, ended up betting out on the jack 9-7 flop. Ended up filling up on the river. He ended up having a straight, so got pretty lucky there, but you know, had some additional equity as well. I think I played pretty well. The game actually broke. I only played for about less than 4 hours. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe button. If your viewing experience could have been better, please let me know how down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.